Hi, it's me, Annalisa Boyd. I'm an Orthodox Christian wife, mom to 8 kids, bread baker, candy maker, self-proclaimed doula, accidental midwife, and the author of the Ascetic Life, not the Pathetic Lives, the Ascetic Lives of Mothers, Hear Me, and Special Agents of Christ, all through Ancient Faith Publishing. Last time, I talked about how we kind of came to our decision to allow the Lord to plan our family size, and this time I'm going to talk a little about just about our family and how things work in our home. But first, I'm going to just dispel a couple myths that people seem to have about me. The first one is that since I have so many children, I must be extremely patient. That is definitely not true. That is a place where I am working out my salvation with fear and trembling. And yes, I may have picked up a few, twitches and ticks along the way, but that is something I aspire to be able to be patient, but I am certainly not there yet, and that is not qualified me to have 8 kids. I think the 8 kids is helping me to learn how to become more patient, kind of out of necessity. Otherwise, fetal position in the closet. And, you can't really mommy that way. The second thing I hear often is, you must be a saint. Again, no, I am nowhere near sainthood, and my children can attest to that fact. So, if anybody is wondering, just ask one of my children and they'll tell you all sorts of stories and all sorts of mommy moments where mommy was kind of, Nazi mommy, and you will go to bed now, or, see these eyebrows? They're pretty intense mommy eyebrows. So they've gotten used. You see how naturally I go to that place, and I'm trying not to, but that is, I'm definitely not a saint. And what was the other one? Oh, you must be so organized. I am so not organized. You can't really tell by my car because you can't see anything. But I'm not a hoarder, so I don't have piles of things all over my house, rising and having to make trails to get from room to room or anything like that. I haven't lost any children under clothing or any of those things, but stereotypically, the man is supposed to be the cluttered one, and the woman is supposed to, be frustrated because she's just trying to be clean. And if he could only put his things away when he was done with them, it'd be better. Well, I'm the stereotypical husband. I'm the one who, not to make excuses, but with 8 kids, a lot of times I'll go to do one thing and then they'll be screaming or somebody's bleeding or something like that, and I have to go take care of it. So, it is kind of reasonable, but I was that way when I had 2. So, yeah. So I have piles, places. My desk is the messy desk. His desk is the clean desk. And God is hopefully blessing him for putting up with a non-organized person like me. I've tried things like Fly Lady and stuff like that, and that is just so overwhelming to me that I shut down and almost purposefully want to make a mess because I'm overwhelmed. So those are 3 myths, 3 things that people assume about me that are not true. I am just a mom. I don't think there's any such thing as just a mom. Once you're a mom, it's a crazy adventure. But I'm a mom. I have kids. That's it. Just like anybody else who's a mom, who has kids. I don't care if it's 1 or 15. There's a bit of crazy that goes into it, and your life will never be the same again. So anyway, moving right along, I brought with me 2 things. You're not really going to be able to see them very well. Let's see. It's family meals, and it's probably backwards. I didn't even think of that. It looks backwards to me. Anyway, so I have my family meal thing. It's Monday through Sunday. You don't really need to know what I make, but just that I have some sort of plan. But the way I work, that I found works best for me in my home, is having kind of a go-to chart. So it's not a set in stone kind of thing, but it gives me a goal. and it gives me kind of guidelines, and it gives me an idea, so I don't have to come up with something new every single week, or find it's 5 o'clock and oh no, we have to get dinner ready. In general, I can look on my little family meals list and go, okay, so this is what we're supposed to have, and I shop with that in mind. And if on that day I decide I just don't feel like making spaghetti today, I want to do grilled cheese and tomato soup, I'm going to do grilled cheese and tomato soup. But it gives me, I have a plan, but it's not a set in stone plan. So that's something that works for me. And by the way, the best piece of parenting or mommying advice I've ever gotten was from my godmother, and before she was my godmother, and she was speaking at a women's luncheon, and she said, I'm going to share a lot of information with you, and anything that is useful, use it in your home, and anything that's not, just sift through and discard anything that doesn't work for you. And I just love that. That actually helped me a lot, because I really liked parenting books and organizational books and all those things, but then I'd get overwhelmed. And then I realized that those books worked for those people because they were tried out by that person on their family. And so it specifically met the needs of their family to a T, because that's who it was designed for. It wasn't designed for my family. Not that I can't get good information, but it wasn't designed for my family. Here's the other thing. This is, that you're not going to be able to see front ways. This is my chore grid kind of thing. I just call it the chore grid. I do have a verse at the bottom. Colossians 3:23 to 24. And whatever you do, do it heartily, cheerfully, as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. And that's actually more for me on there. I wrote it with the hopes deep down inside that my children would want to read that, but in reality, that's something that I have to remember as a mommy. But I have a week at a time, and I have all the children's names, and I have what their chore is going to be for that week. For example, my oldest son, he has the big and little trash and the gym. That's where the boys like to try to do parkour and stuff like that. They're actually getting really good. So he has the big and little trash, the gym, and dog poop on Saturday. So every day during the week, the expectation is he's going to do the big trash and the little trash, and he'll do the dog poop on Saturday. And what are the benefits of doing this? Number one, he is a member of the family. They're members of the family, and we all work together. Otherwise, it would be a big, awful mess all the time. I mean, it's enough of a mess right now, but it would be a big, awful mess. Secondly, Dad goes to work. He gets paid. His reward for doing the work that he's supposed to do is he gets paid. Yay! We like getting paid. Well, their reward for doing the work they're supposed to do by doing well in school and doing their chores well, and not forgetting to do them on any of their days, they get the privileges of playing video games or going to a friend's house, or, one of the extras that we might have going on. So that's kind of my philosophy of how to make my homework the best that it can. Those are my basic main organizational tools. I've used a number of different things. There are some good chore chart type things out there. There's one called Managers of Their Home. But again, for me, that was so structured that I turned into Nazi mommy, and there was like no joy. And there are people who it works really, really, really well with. And then there are people like me. But there you go. The other one that I really like is called Accountable Kids. And it has some hands-on, and it gives some opportunities for the kids to really be responsible for their chores and all of that by having these chore cards, and they have to physically move them from one place to another when they've completed their chores and that kind of thing. So those are the things that we do in our home. We keep it pretty simple because there are too many kids for us to do much more than that. We have homeschooled over the years, and when we've done homeschooling, there's been a little more tied in, but it's been more along the lines of our chore grid with more of the, here are the guidelines, here are the things you have to accomplish within a week, and here are the expectations. Anyway, that was it for our family. That's kind of what we do. And I'd love to hear about what you guys do. What works for you? What organizational things have you found that have been the most helpful? All right, let's keep on working at our salvation, one mommy moment at a time. Have a great day.